Hello everyone. Today we are going live for another live streaming for Byte Coding, building real projects live. This time we are going to talk to European energy data by building an energy AI agent using the ENTSO-E API, which has access to the European energy data. As you can see in the word clouds, we've got questions, for example, what's the industrial loads, offshore wind, and the AI gives us the answer by navigating through the system that we will build. In this case, the user will ask the AI agents a question, then the agent will go through the technologies of Model Context Protocol, in this case MCP, the abbreviation, and goes to use the tools, which are functions, to consult the prices, generation, flows directly connected into the ENTSO-E API. Remember that all of these live streamings are going to be recorded. And if you want to go into this website where we've got exclusive content for each one of the streamings, you will see that we've got demos of applications that we will build. Next week, we're going to focus on just user interaction with the tool in case you are not interested into developing the code or your colleagues would like to try the tool without coding. That's going to be Dayton's apps. And on this series, we are doing vibe coding, which is building the codes in real time. For example, you have from the last session backtest trading strategies with Claude Codes, which we use to build trading strategies, a system for the agent using AI. So you can watch it. It's all recorded step by step, going through Visual Studio. Beyond these live streamings, we are a company that offers solutions on building data infrastructure for your data or computers for automated processes. Also APIs, AI agents for your data so that you can automate your work. If you want to have a discovery call to see how we can help you, go here, see a free slot, and consult with me, free consultation, to explore how we can collaborate together. Now, coming back to the live streaming, the context of why building the AI agent for the ENTSO-E API is important. The API ENTSO-E is the European network of transmission system operators, which contains access to 35 plus countries, public data, and it has an API that we can use to query that information. If you go to their website, here we can see all of the information that we got, for example, in Deutschland, Germany. We can see, consult the prices of total loads, day ahead, during the week, also information on generation. But maybe here we need to go a bit. Here it doesn't show. I am doing something wrong here. There we go. And here we observe the information. So what's the problem? Or not the problem, like what would be nice to have in this case? We could have a chat to interact directly with this data and access the information right away that we are interested into. So to do this and have an AI system interacting with all of this information, we need access to the API. That's if we create an account by signing in. I think I've got the account. 1 second. All right. So now that I have got my account, I can go here and check for my web API access, which is a token we must generate so that we can access programmatically using Python codes. We'll get back to this during the building process. All right, so what are we gonna do? The goal, it's an agent that if we ask any question, like what was the average electricity price in Germany last week, how does it compare to France, it can consult the information in the system that we will build and say Germany's average day ahead price was that one, while France was this other, and also make some calculations on the go, like percentages or peaks, as we see for Germany. Now, the problem that accessing the data isn't trivial. What's the current workflow? We register, get the token to access the information via the API. Then we learn how to use the API, which is very complex because it's got XML parsing, also many document types, process and transfer the data so that the agent can interact, and finally repeat for any other question that we have. This is a problem that you go through if you don't have the AI agent by just chatting with the agent. It gives us the information and you save that tedious process. So the solution that we will build together is having the user asking questions to the AI agent. Then we get the response continuously, getting the context. And for that, we need an architecture that from the question of the user until the response, we've got the AI agents with an MCP server, which is Model Context Protocol, and it's the layer, like the USB, for connecting APIs or systems to the AI agent securely with your data. Inside the MCP server, we've got tools connected to the API so that we can have, for example, functions like get the prices, get the flows, get the generation, compare countries to answer the questions we have previously asked to the AI agent. So today, we are going to build the system of components with the ENTSO-E client, which is a Python wrapper for the API, the MCP server, tools for the agent, Claude codes to use those tools, and the MCP app so that we can interact inside the chat interactively with the agent. The MCP server is the technology that you don't have context about it. We go to this website, and here you can see that it's the standardized protocol to connect bidirectionally with AI applications, data sources, and tools. So it's gonna be the standard for developing AI systems using the protocol, MCP, Model Context Protocol. All right. So the stack, our tools to build the application of the AI agent is going to be Python, FastMCP, which is a library to build the MCP servers, ENTSO-E, the API with the data source, and Claude Code to bytecode the application so that in around 2 hours we can build the whole application. Without further ado, let's get started with it. First thing is to open Visual Studio. By the way, if you've got any questions, feel free to ask them and I will address them right away. Want this to be interactive so that you can learn how to build these systems too. And also learn that's how it's done. Let me check 1 second. All right, so let's do it here. I think I can see. All right, let's do it. So let's build the project from scratch. This is going to be in any folder of your computer. In my case, I'm gonna do it here. I'm gonna create a new folder. It's gonna be called the codes for the session. We simply drag and drop in Visual Studio. And from here, we can start developing the program. One of the things that I like to do always is to create a folder with the plans so that we can build the system and have track of it to the AI agent. I'm gonna do, for example, one. It's gonna be script, whatever. Let me put this bigger. All right. Now, to activate Claude Code inside Visual Studio, we can go to the extensions marketplace, search for Claude Code, and here we've got the extension. I have it enabled by default. If you want to have it, you will have to install it. And then once you want to work with it, you click in here. Of course, you must have an account and register. If you don't know how to, let me know in the comments and I'll work on a video for it. Let's go back here and start laying out the plan. So, I mean, in general, I could simply ask to review the agenda that I have built and structure a plan for building it. So let's save time in doing that. So for the agenda, which is the presentation you have seen before, it's already the whole information. So I'm gonna tell review this. Let me 1 second. Yeah, it's open. So there is a tool that I use always to develop the code, which is called Whisper. If I talk, it can write down what I say. So in this folder, you've got the presentation for a live streaming I'm doing, and I want you to redact a plan to build the whole system. And the folder, let me pass it, which is here. Let's go for it. Whenever the Claude Code, because it has access to my terminal, it's always requesting for permissions if they can do this or that. However, I want to bypass these permissions. I'll do later. So it's reading the information of the presentation I have given you earlier. And now it has a picture on how to build the MCP agent system using ENTSO-E API. Before, I mean, I'm gonna stop it because I want to activate the plan mode, which is in here if you click, and it's gonna write a file on the system so that we can review the plan together and I can approve what I want to be done and what not to be done. So redact a plan for it. It doesn't need to go back and do the same thing because it's already tracked into the conversation. So when I send this message, all of the information that we previously researched, the Claude Code agent, it's also sent on this message. Meanwhile, do you work with energy data quite often? Have you used the ENTSO-E API before? Let me know in the chat so that we can make this more interactive. So it's already right in the plan. Let me first review it. So it's gonna build the AI agent using the data from the ENTSO-E API. The architecture is gonna be this with the tools, and the implementation is this one. All right, entsoe-e MCP. I mean, the first thing I don't like is that this whole folder is going to be um, the project folder. So I don't want to create a middle layer here. That's one thing that I will fix. It's also using the libraries that we are gonna develop and we are gonna use to develop the program. Then it's going to create the Pydantic models and the entsoe clients, which we can take advantage of an already built library called entsoe.py. If we go online, we can observe it here. So it's a library that it's actively maintained. Last week was the latest updates, as we can see here. And to connect to it, we simply use the Python code with the API using these functions like querying day ahead prices, energy generation forecast, etc. We can access the information Pythonically very, very fast. So to continue with the plan, this is what it's going to do. Phase 4 is going to be MCP server. Okay. And the integration, which is us to use the tool and interact with it. It seems like a good plan. Just let me tell about the start start right away with the as rc folder. Don't create the middle layer. No. Yup. Let me rewind or go back. No, I cannot go back here. Gosh, it's entering. No, I meant to, in this folder, start creating with the src. It's a folder structure issue. It's very frustrating when the AI doesn't get you. But anyway, also when you're going to develop, it's very good that before developing anything with AI, you are pretty sure of what it's going to do. Okay, so this is what I want. We are in the code folder and we want to develop this right away and using ENTSO-E directly. Okay, let's give it a try. And now the plan has been approved. So let's allow everything. Here is creating the files with the README, the clouds with the instructions, because as we allow to run any UV inits, it keeps track of that. Also this one. And this is how, when you develop the code, having the settings local JSON, you establish the permissions so that AI doesn't do anything without permission. You don't want to. With the instructions. This file, the one you see here, is considering the instructions to run the MCP server directly so that we can interact with the chat or any other tool client that you will see later. And if you are developing these tools for your colleagues doesn't need to know about the codes. They just need to know about these instructions and they can interact right away with an application. For example, if you see here, we've got the Claude.ai and we can add the connector, which is an URL that we'll also deploy today to interact with the tool that we will build. So in this case, if we go to manage the connectors, we can see from other tools that I developed, which is to consult the legal documentation of the Spanish government. And here, if we configure, we have got tools to consult the information on the laws. So in this case, if we go for a new chat and I ask, consult the information in Spain to develop batteries for storage and use BOE tool. So when I send the message, since it has the tool built into it, it can apply the function, which is search with a particular query, as we can see here, almacenamiento energía baterías, which is in Spain the meaning, and then we get the interaction. However, it is getting many information, and this is gonna stop. So this is one example of how we can use the tools that we are building into a chatbot that, for colleagues that may not be tech savvy with the Python code, whatever, they can use it right away and interact as a chatbot. So going back to the Claude codes to build this solution, we can observe it has created the files, src, MCP server, and here we've got the information. So they say initialize the ENTSO-E clients with an token. So if we go to this token, we need to apply it in here. We go to the ENTSO-E Transparency Platform. And here to my account, web API access, we generate the token. We override the one we had. This is the token. We copy and then we paste it in the here. Okay, so now this is the token, but I will use another one in 1 second, because if they track my queries and many people uses it, it's going to be, they might block me the access. So let me, all right, we're good to go. So once we have put the token on this file, the .env, the system is gonna acknowledge it so that we can interact with the information. Here we observe how the MCP server is initialized, and from here we establish the tools given some parameters like the country and the date, and we get the information. In this case, it's going to return this data structure, which is a text specifying the daily ahead prices for a particular country on a particular date. If we want to test this tool, the first thing we need to do is closing the chat or opening a new one so that the Claude codes can understand the MCP JSON instruction here in a new conversation. So let's create it. And if I press the slash, I can see the ENTSO-E name for the MCP server. So let me check. It's not here recognized. MCP. First I need to check for the MCP servers. So let me execute. Here it's going to ask us to continue on the terminal because this type of interactions, they cannot do it on the UI of the panel in Visual Studio. So it's going to open the terminal, execute these commands, Claude MCP, to check if the ENTSO-E is installed. Let's refresh and continue. It's having problems. Let's see them. Probably they say it could not be resolved, but maybe this is for another issue. Let me check here. And I will say, can you check using Claude's MCP CLI if the tool is working? Yeah, they get ENTSO-E not found, which can be an error because the library wasn't installed. So it's going to try and get the result. Allow this bash command. Let's give it a try. They say it's an issue with the token. No, no, it's getting it right. Okay, so there is an issue here because the first command we had tried, it was with Germany, but apparently it has some problems, probably because some of these codes aren't properly used. So the AI is now editing the server, as we can see here. If we don't put the here, it's modifying the file, because one of the cool things the AI has when you develop the code is that the same tool that you are building, it can be used to trace back any type of error, go back to the codes, find clues on where the issue might be, and fix it without your involvement. And here you just apply the changes. You can let the AI run on autopilot to develop it by edits automatically, and it's going to be modifying the file until it reaches a proper solution. Now it's going to test again. The thing is that one of the things that I don't like is that it's creating the Python codes on the go to test the tool. And I want a more scalable solution that it can grow for many other multiple cases and the tool can interact with the function. So instead of having everything cluttered into MCP server, we should have a structured repo in the system. So I don't want you to create the Python codes on the go. You should better structure the repository with more scripts so that we have a refactored system and you can reuse those functions to tell what works and what doesn't. So it's going to break up this file into many other files to avoid reusing the Python, creating the Python code on the go. This is much better. It's even creating scripts to test the client if it works or not. So we avoid having the AI to create the Python code on the go. Awesome. So it seems the project is working now for the MCP server also. And it's using validate country, which is a function that is on the client file. So this is good. It's refactored. And now we can try using the tool. So we create a new conversation, and here we can ask some of the questions. For example, uh, how prices in Europe compare? Like, where is the cheapest energy? And here is going to check with the MCP tool, where we've got a function called compare countries. However, we've got an error on the server, like entsoe not found, which is the library. I'm gonna stop the tool. Apparently, there is an error with a library not being properly installed. Check and fix it. Theoretically, in this file, we've got the entsoe library installed, and it should look into it, but there may be some errors. The libraries are installed, but and it can get the data, but there is an issue with the MCP server. Fix the Okay, so I'm gonna ask to consult some information online. So consult on FastMCP and Claude codes for how to properly have it recognized. Meanwhile, I'm gonna try and run it on the terminal. I'm gonna say clouds. Here it's connecting to the MCP server and it's good. So we could interact also from here. And let me ask the same question. It might be an issue of the extension of in Visual Studio. I don't know, but it's very strange that in Visual Studio doesn't work, but inside the terminal it does. Anyway, we can continue working on the terminal too. Let me copy the message. So the AI system is looking into how the function works. And here the function is asking for the countries and the date. And it needs to provide the countries using comma to separate them with the code. And that's what it's going to do here. It's going to request a tool usage on the function compare countries with these many countries on today's date. So let's approve it. And now what it's doing in the insights is going to the API from ENTSO-E data servers, getting the information, and later it will output. That output that we see here is being processed by the tool and following the rules we specified in the codes. For example, it says something like price comparison for 2026, 4th of February in the countries, sorted by the average prices. Portugal, Spain, France, Belgium. And why is it returning the information in this way? Because on the MCP server, we have the return day ahead prices for, but 1 second, because this was on the tool compare countries here. So in the compare countries, at the very end, we see that the return is price comparison for, and here we get price comparison for. However, when you are developing codes, this is not a proper way to return the information. The general object to return the information is a JSON, which is a file that inside the brackets you structure the information properly, like in Spain, we've got these prices for the average, etc. And in this case, the AI receives that structured objects and later deduces what's the answer it will give you so that you can see it on natural text. That's something we will ask to fix later so that these returned objects are structured as JSON. And here is giving us the information. The cheapest price today is for Portugal, followed by Spain, France, Belgium, Netherlands, Austria, and Poland. Also with the minimum and maximum prices. So what can we do here to improve the server? Let's do what we said before. And even from here, I can reference if I open the palette prompt with Control Shift P of Pamplona, I can say chat, selection to chats. So I know that, yeah, no, I don't need to do this because the system, as you can see here, it already detects the 8 lines. So I can say the returns of the MCP tools are raw text. Instead, I like them to be JSON files, JSON structure, so that the AI can read better the information. So it's going to request these changes that we see here. It imports the JSON, we approve it. And now look at how it's structuring the information. It's building the JSON in this way with the country, country codes, the date, currency, and the summary. Things like this are very important for you to know the programming, how it works really, so that you can get the best performance of these AI agents. That's why doing vibe coding without knowing before how to program, it's gonna fall back into misbehaviors from the AI agents. So watch out for this type of tricks when you are building and you don't know how to program. In this case, if I want to proceed from the terminal without asking me the questions, I can press Shift Tab and it's already going on accept edits by default. Now the tools, if you see, they are still returning not the JSON because we need to close the session and continue again, or maybe start another one. So we write clouds after having exited using Control C twice, or also you can press here exit and it goes out. If we go again, Claude, we ask the same question of how prices in Europe compare. And now it should get the information properly in a JSON structure. It's using the tool to compare, and here it gets the result with the date, the currency, and it's used with these brackets so that we know the information is being properly structured for the AI agent to work properly. And here we get the same results. So quite good, quite good. Now, what else can we do for the colleagues that doesn't know how to program? We could build a tunnel to expose the URL and have it working on applications that they usually work with, which are these ones. And from here, we need to open the connectors and go into adding them. To add them, we need an URL. So we need to deploy in the system. Awesome. Now I want to deploy the tool using a tunnel service like Cloudflare for letting colleagues who may not know programming to use this tool right away on their applications like Claude Desktop or ChatGPT, etc. Now it's asking to the online documentation, because this is also one thing that the AI can do, is to go on using tools to consult the documentation of the libraries we are using, and it can get the information right away so that we can implement it. This is the conclusions from the research it's obtained to set up a Cloudflare tunnel, which is an URL that we can paste in the system of Claude we've got here, and then we can access the tool right away. I don't have a domain, so let's use Cloudflare Quick Tunnel, no authentication. Let's go. Here is the plan, which is update the MCP server to run on HTTP, use the terminal. Let's do it. We are gonna have it two ways, which is installing the tunnel, which is a server running continuously on Cloudflare instances, and using that URL is connecting to our computer so that we can access to this program from the Claude.ai. That's what a tunnel means in programming. As you can see in these commands, the terminal itself can run the tunnel in this case and forward the port we have on the URL. Now it's going to test if it can query the information, which it can. So it's working properly. Here we get an error, but that's normal because we are accessing the MCP using another way. But if we grab the URL here, and also if you do it, you can even interact with my server right now, and it can accept multiple connections. It's we are using technology to support that. So here we're going to use ENTSO-E European energy data. And here we observe in the configuration that we've got the tools enabled. And look at this, like right now, if you are in your computer and you have Claude.ai, you can access to this tool too, and any of your colleagues or whoever. So if you go to the new chat, and then I ask the same question of which was the cheapest European country, prices energy today, it should query the server that it's asking for information, always allow. It's processing the information with the API. These are one of the things that we should fix, that every time it's asking for information, it's requesting the data to the servers of the ENTSO-E. And instead of that, we should enable a caching system so that the data that it's consulted is properly structured in our system and the responses are way faster. This is also one of the things that vibe coders that doesn't have programming knowledge will have a hard time to conclude. And any other tool that they might develop, it's gonna be like this, like waiting for days and hours until we get an answer. At least here we got it. There we can see it, the response, and here we get the conclusion. Nice. So that was about it. Today it's been record time, less than 1 hour to build the tool. Next week, I'm gonna make it faster, but there is one thing that I'd like to try before finishing. From the latest streaming, we developed a tool that was able to, let me check, to consult the information using a dashboard directly. You can see here that it returns a dashboard in the same Claude.ai. So if we want to have that type of interaction, as we see in here, we can use the MCP apps, which is the new feature the great people of Model Context Protocol has built lately. So let's try doing that. And in our case, I'm gonna get support on what we did the other day. There we are. Now I want to build an MCP app so that we can interact with the data from Claude.ai using having a dashboard with the raw data to interact. On top of that, also enable a caching system, exporting the data into a Parquet file so that we can have fast access on previously consulted information. Here is a repository that contains the MCP app implementation we did in another live streaming. And just like that is how knowledge builds up. From one thing we did the other day, we got a great repository with an example. We use it as a template to build this other tool. But before of that, I want to get rid of this consulting thing and let the AI do its thing all the time. So I'm gonna stop it, and then I'm gonna go inside again with dangerously skipping permissions, continuing with the same chat, rewind to the previously message here, MCP app. And let the AI do its thing on bypassing permissions. We are on crazy mode. Let's close this. I think we can move. No, okay, never mind. Now let's wait and see. Right now you could be working on another project, 2 projects at the same time. Also working from home, like always stuck here in the chair. You could also even walk while you let the AI work for you. So I'm gonna do that. No, yeah. Give me 1 second. By the way, also if you've got any question and you're watching this on your own after the live streaming, feel free also to ask in the comments. So here we've got the AI developing the codes, as we can see in the ENTSO-E service. It's also building an API layer so that the MCP app can support the interactive layout. However, what I am missing here is the folder to have the TypeScript codes, because I don't think, I know. But are you also creating the TypeScript repository? Yeah, like the first question I asked to create the MCP app probably didn't detect this folder. So now it does, and it's paying attention to it so that it can build the TypeScript MCP app for the ENTSO-E. That's why you need to know very sure what the AI is doing, checking up the folders if it's building what you intend to. Now it's writing the HTML for serving the app. And here we've got the codes using libraries from TypeScript, which is a technology like built on top of JavaScript so that we can have interactive elements in the web browser, which contain the console to run the JavaScript code. Here it's installing dependencies for the packages that are here. So we will see a node modules with all of the libraries, as we see in the Python project here, the virtual environment with the Python libraries. I don't know if it's enabling the caching layer. There we have it. And if it requests data from the servers, it should be populated with files of code. Apparently, there is a problem because the server, when it's requesting data to the API, it doesn't get it. So I've asked to try and fix it. It's that data for that period is not found. But no. Wait. Because it's creating a data generator. So I'm gonna tell check entsoe-py library to understand with real data. That's one of the problems of the entsoe library, that there are many functions, as we saw previously. And it's a bit hard to interpret which one is the one getting the information. And with these many codes also. So let's check. Yeah, here is the problem. That the date formats should be passed in this way. And also, probably there are countries that doesn't contain the information. There we got some data, so it's probably that problem. Now it's checking for the zones we've got in Germany. And it should fix those mappings of which codes belongs to which country, so that we get the information without errors. And here we get the dictionary of the correct binding zones. Oops. This got a bit messy. Half a kilometer already, 10 minutes. Good way to work. while you walk and let the AI do the hard part for you. Yes, need the brain. Here we get, you see, how it's working the caching system, downloading the data from Germany, from these many dates. There we go. So it's working. It's creating the tunnel so that I can connect to the tool and deploy the interactive dashboard to manipulate the data from the ENTSO-E. Let me stop this meanwhile. Okay. So let's go to Claude.ai, get this URL for the interactive dashboard. And there we go. We create the connector for the tool, which gave us a new URL. Let me 1 second, I'm gonna remove existing one. I'm gonna copy this. Awesome. So if you go to the configure, here we've got the show energy dashboard. Let's try it out. Let's work with energy data from Europe. Show me dashboard. Now it's going to the server through my URL, using the data from Spain. Hopefully it won't result in any error, but let's see. Ole. There we go. Incredible. Incredible. So here we could even ask for any other country. Let's check on France, for example. It's loading. It should change. It changed. And this is without leaving the Claude.ai. Like, we don't even need to create a web application to let users interact with the information. They can already do it directly from Claude.ai. Amazing. So let's do now a multiple comparison. Let's see if we can see here a multiple check and compare multiple countries at once. Awesome. Now I would like for the drop down to be a multi-selection so that we can query multiple countries at once and compare them in the visualization chart. There we go. So it's checking if the tunnel can be working still, and it says that it's auto updated because the program is running on hot reload. So we should be able in the next call to have the dashboard with the multiple selection. Let's give it a try. Um, I have just updated the MCP server. You should be able to reproduce another dashboard with multi-selection of countries. Let's see. There we go, baby. So we can have France, Spain. I need to press Control click, but there we go. And let's do also Italy. Oosh, already working. It's incredible, man. It's incredible. Let's do Switzerland all at once. Like what it's doing in the background is downloading the information and storing it into this folder of the caching system so that if we ask again with the same dates, we don't need to rely on the API. We already got the information downloaded in our servers. And probably this is a lot of information with new countries, so that's why it's taking a bit more of time. Or maybe it's, no, maybe they don't exist, but we already checked for that. So yeah, it's still querying the information because it's downloading for many, many dates at once for each one of the countries. Almost there, getting there. There we go. And here we can compare the prices. Everything without going to develop a new web application like, or even visiting the platform of ENTSO-E. We've got all of this at our fingertips with only natural language. It's gonna be even not required for us to navigate through the web applications. We can directly go into the chat and ask by voice, like, hey, I want to get this information, buy me a ticket or give me some rentals for going on holidays in Airbnb. I think this is more one of the new complementary applications that most companies will develop so that their customer can interact with their AI systems with their has already got their preferences and can store that information in, and even working with files locally so that it can get the information right away and more securely. It's amazing what this technology is enabling. Model context protocol. Not only you can interact with the chat, but you can also get rendered dashboard interactive UI applications right into the chat. Incredible. So guys, it's been a pleasure having this session. If you watch it later, please let me know what you think about it in the comments and which other topics would you like to cover or other tools would you like me to build. On top of that, if you've got projects going on that you feel we can work together, remember that we have also a website where you can reach out to contacts, and even in daytons.com, you've got here the free call with me to interact and see which project you are working on, which is the technical feasibility, if it's possible to do it, how to design a roadmap to accomplish it, and my honest advice on how to develop it and if it's going to be possible. So if you fulfill these topics, we can have a call so that you can get clarity. We propose a project, and if we are a fit, we can work together based on the conditions. And we can also partner with other companies to develop these type of solutions. And if we cannot do it, we can also help you achieve it with other partners we've got other projects working with. These are some of the customers we have interacted mostly for training sessions. Some of them we have developed codes for them. And if you are interested on developing similar projects or new ones, you can book a slot with me in this scheduler from Zoom, and we get started right away. So it's been a pleasure. Remember, the recording of this session is live on YouTube, and